Hola a todos, bienvenidos a sus apuntes de Comparatives de 3.2. By the end of the day, you will be able to compare your family, friends, and yourself. Basically, comparing people. But guess what? Comparatives, as the name suggests, are phrases or expressions that you can use to compare. I know, such a shocker. To compare two people, but you can also compare just any kind of things, including actions. So I typically don't like to use thing because I feel like that's so general. But here you go. Okay, anyway, so there are 3 phrases that you're going to use in Spanish to help you compare. Because let's be honest, you can either be more than another thing, you can be not as much as, or less than. And if you're not more than, or you're not less than, then you are the same as, which I'm going to put like just as, or you can say equally as. So anyway, so you're going to use those phrases with an adjective to compare qualities in people. So when an adjective, just like every adjective we have in Spanish, your adjective needs to agree in gender and in number. But now here's the question. You're comparing 2 things. So how do you know which one to match it with? You're always going to go with the first one. And I will, when we do like some examples, I'll show you why. So you're always going to make your adjective match the first noun. So here's why. Okay, so we have más que. Más que is more than. So you say, mi tío es más artístico que mi madre. My uncle is more artistic than my mom. It works just like in English, right? And then it's like one. La clase de ciencias es menos divertida que la clase de inglés. Science class is not as fun as English class. It's less fun than English class. And then finally, mi abuelo es tan inteligente como, so when you have tan como, I think, equals just as, tan inteligente como mi padre. My grandpa is just as intelligent as my father. So I promised you an explanation on why the first one. Well, let's look at what happens if we get rid of the second one. We still have a sentence. Mi tío es más artístico. My uncle is more artistic. Boom, stands by itself. So the adjective needs to match the first one. La clase de ciencias es menos divertida que la clase de inglés. Not as fun as. So we say the class is fun. It's less fun, but we're still describing it as some measure of fun. So divertida matches clase. And finally, mi abuelo es tan inteligente como mi padre. This one's a little bit harder to tell because inteligente matches men and women. But anyway, mi abuelo is intelligent. My grandpa is intelligent. So inteligente needs to match abuelo. Now notice we have más que, menos que, and tan como. So there are 2 different comparison phrases we're using. Que and que versus como. My hint is if they're unequal, they're not equal, is que, than. But como is like as, when they're the same, como. A little hint for you is como has 2 O's, so you know it's going to be the 2 lines for equal, just as. Isn't that fun? Okay, so use que when they're different. Use como when they're the same. And then they, you actually use with numbers. So I would say like, yo tengo más de 10 estudiantes en la clase, kind of thing. So those are comparisons with adjectives. You can also have a comparison without an adjective. And it's as simple as you don't put an adjective between them. So the symbols, the meanings, are the same. It's not fun. So, me gusta ir a la biblioteca más que al gimnasio. There's no adjective in here. That's just, I like to go to the library more than going to the gym. I like the library more than the gym. There is no adjective in that sentence. So we're using it with verbs, I guess you could say. Here. Me gustan las hamburguesas menos que los tacos, which in this case is not only factually incorrect, but less than. So I like hamburgers less than tacos. Or I don't like hamburgers as much as I like tacos. Kind of thing. Again, no adjective, so there's no adjective that goes between them. We just squish the más que together. Now here's where it gets funky. Notice up here we have tan como. Now we get tanto como. Ooh. So look out for that. If you take away the adjective, you need to have tanto como. So te gusta escuchar tanto como hablar? Do you like to listen as much as, in an equal manner as, speaking? So that's the theory. Those are the rules. We're about to get into a bit of practice, but I have two warnings for you. The first warning is that comparison is a thief of joy. I'm about to tell you to compare yourself, to compare other people. But as you do, please do not let it rob you of your joy. I hope that you find your identity in Christ alone, and that just because you are smarter than someone else doesn't mean that you are worth more or better than them. Please do not put them down if you are smarter than them, or if you are not as athletic as someone else. That doesn't mean you are worth less than them. God still loves you and you are still valid as a person. So please do not let these comparisons, rob you of your joy, of your meaning, of your purpose. You are still valid as an individual as you compare yourself with other people. That's what that means. Please take it to heart. Neato burrito. Okay, and then the other warning is the irregulars. In English, we don't say more old than, we say older. Right, so same thing in Spanish. I wouldn't say yo soy más viejo que. I say yo soy mayor. I'm older. Same thing, younger. Oops, I'll start to write in Spanish. Younger, we don't say yo soy más joven. We just say yo soy menor que. I am younger than someone else. Okay, mayor, menor. Just like in English, we don't say, I'm more good than you, I'm gooder than you. No, we say better. So that's mejor. Also, the verb mejorar is to get better, to make better, to improve. Isn't that fun? Okay, anyway. And then similarly, worse. Like somehow my handwriting is getting worse. We don't say badder, that's more bad. No, we say worse, and that's peor, like poorer. So there's our irregulars. Neato burrito. Okay. The whole point of this notes is to talk about people in your family. Okay? So I can say something like, mi hermano es mayor que yo, which is true. My brother is taller than I am. Notice all of our irregulars go with a que, because they're comparisons. Es mayor que yo. So go ahead and write some more sentences comparing the ages of people in your family. Pause the video and write maybe 3 or 4 sentences. Good job, friends. Oh, throw back to this guy. Remember, irregular is que and equal is como. Irregular is que equals como. Or you can maybe copy this chart because you'll need it. Actividad 18. No, actividad 12. That's where we are. Okay, oops, that's not what I wanted. Eso. Okay. So aquí completa las oraciones con que o como para describir las familias de Rodrigo y Marisol. So que, again, is with our irregulars. Más que o menos que. Y como es cuando son iguales. Aquí. Marisol es tan simpática como su madrastra. She is as nice as her stepmom. So that gives us a como. Marisol is just as nice as her stepmother. Aquí. Ana es menor, no Rodrigo. Well, menor, that's younger. So that's going to be an irregularity. Not irregularity, an inequality. Ana es menor que Rodrigo. Go ahead and pause the video and try to complete the rest of activity 12 with que or como. Okay, now that you've tried, let's go over it. Marisol corre tanto, eso es igual, tanto como sus padres. She runs just as much as her parents. Próximo, Rodrigo tiene menos hermanos, José. Rodrigo has fewer, less, but if you can count them, it's fewer. Has fewer brothers than José. Again, inequality. Okay. Remember when I said they have to have an adjective between them? This is actually a noun. Simpática is an adjective. But you can still compare, you can compare quantities in addition to qualities. I forgot to say that earlier. So you can compare like number of things rather than like how nice you are, your personality. Okay, anyway, moving on. El tío Pablo toca la guitarra mejor la tía Camille. Again, mejor is in inequality. Son diferentes. Entonces tenemos que. Mejor que la tía Camila. Y finalmente, Esther es mayor, Tito. Mayor como menor es desigualdad. No son iguales. So, mayor que Tito. Esther is older than Tito. They are different ages. That comparison gives us a que. Guys, I straight up was like, what questions do you have? But you're not here. Rip. I guess when watching this, you'll be here. But I'm not here. Okay, anyway. Aquí, en actividad 13, vamos a hacer más comparaciones. Aquí tenemos los adjetivos como grande, alto, serio, perezoso, desorganizado, atlético. And this one doesn't have one, so that'll be interesting. Okay, anyway. Aquí en el modelo, Nicolás is bigger than Sara. So say Nicolás es más grande que Sara. Grande is our adjective. Grande is our adjective. And he is more big. He's bigger because we have that inequality, más que. Let's get Nora y Patricia. Nora, Patricia, well, they are the same height. Okay, also they are ladies. So we're going to say, well, Nora's a lady, so say alta. That alta needs to match Nora. And they are the same. When they're same, we're going to use tan como. So that gives us Nora es tan alta como Patricia. Cool, huh? Again, tan como, they are the same. And then that alta needs to match Nora. Aquí, Sergio y José. I'm also reading left to right. I'm assuming this is Marcos and this is José. Okay. Now, Marcos is a guy, which means it's going to be Sergio to match Marcos. So we say Marcos is clearly more serious than José. Marcos is more serious than José. Pause the video and figure out how are you going to say that. Marcos is more serious than José. Well, here we go. Just like here, we had an S for is. We're going to start off also with an S. Marcos es, and then more than is más que. Marcos es más serio que José. Serio is an adjective. I'm going to do a thing. All right. You have 2 more minutes to do activity 13 now. Let's Let's go ahead and pause the video and figure out how are you going to compare these people. You know what, before you pause, I'll give you a hint. You're going to say, Anna is more lazy than Ali. Look, he's working hard. Sweat literally flying off of his head, off of his person. So Anna is more lazy than Ali. Aquí, Pablo y Pedro, they have the same level of organization or lack thereof. So you're going to say Pablo is just as disorganized as Pedro. Man, again with the sweat, David is dying. Oh well. So Maria is more athletic than David. And aquí, número 6. Mira, ella está corriendo y también está escuchando música. So we're going to say she likes to run just as much as she likes to listen to music. So okay, we've got a more than, we've got a equals, we've got a more than, we've got a more than. Okay, so pause the video and try to do those activities. And here we go, let's check if you did it right. Okay, to say Ana is more lazy than Ali, we have Ana es más perezosa que Ali. Again with the es, and then the difference, más que. And then perezosa needs to match Ana. Perezosa, Ana. So even then Ali is a guy, perezosa is still feminine because it's talking about Ana. Próximo, Pablo is just as disorganized as Pedro. Again, we start with our es. Pablo es, a highlighter. Pablo es, and then the same. Tan desorganizado como Pedro. Maria is more athletic than David. Gives us Maria es más atlética que David. And then finally, Elena likes to run just as much as listening to music. A Elena le gusta, oh, I found a typo, my friends. Le gusta correr, this should be tanto como. Oh well, tanto como escuchar música. So we've got our comparison. It's the same, tanto como escuchar música. Now, correr and escuchar música, there's no adjective to describe them. That's why it gives tanto como instead of just tan como. If there were an adjective, then we would stick to the tan como. Beautiful. So that's activities 12 and 13. Let's go ahead and take some time to write some comparisons about people in your family using más que, menos que, and tanto como. And then these guys, straight up with activity 14, I don't know how I was going to listen to the audio and talk you through it. So just listen to the audio and correct the sentences. Yay! Okay. And then activity 15, read the thing, answer the questions. You do not need my help for this. Awesome. Same thing. Activity 16, watch the episode, figure out who it's describing. You do not need my help for this. Yay! Okay. I recommend that you practice with your people. Compare yourself to the person sitting next to you. This is excellent practice. But honestly, if you do comparisons about people in your family, that's the best practice, this one. That's going to best prepare you for your project coming up. And then finally, if you're like, wow, this is super confusing, I just need more practice of this, follow this link right here, and it will take you to a worksheet. That's that. Have a lovely time with the rest of your class, and we will check your work when I get back. Ciao.